Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Uncertainty about the truth or factuality or existence of something. There is no question about the validity of the enterprise. A sentence of inquiry that asks for a reply. He asked a direct question. Challenge the accuracy, probity, or propriety of. We must question your judgment in this matter. Pose a series of questions to. The suspect was questioned by the police. A formal proposal for action made to a deliberative assembly for discussion and vote. She called for the question. Conduct an interview in television, newspaper, and radio reporting. The subject matter at issue. The question of disease merits serious discussion. An instance of questioning. There was a question about my training. Place in doubt or express doubtful speculation. Pose a question. An informal reference to a marriage proposal. He was ready to pop the question. Uncertainty about the truth or factuality or existence of something. The state of being unsure of something. Consider unlikely or have doubts about. I doubt that she will accept his proposal of marriage. Lack confidence in or have doubts about. I doubt these reports. Uncertainty about the truth or factuality or existence of something. The state of being unsure of something. Uncertainty about the truth or factuality or existence of something. The dubiousness of his claim. The state of being unsure of something. A sentence of inquiry that asks for a reply. He had trouble phrasing his interrogations. Formal systematic questioning. An instance of questioning. A transmission that will trigger an answering transmission from a transponder. A sentence of inquiry that asks for a reply. Some linguists consider interrogative sentences to constitute a mood. Relating to the use of or having the nature of an interrogation. Relating to verbs in the so-called interrogative mood. Not all questions have an interrogative construction. A sentence of inquiry that asks for a reply. Challenge the accuracy, probity, or propriety of. Challenge the accuracy, probity, or propriety of. Pose a series of questions to. Transmit. A signal, for setting off an appropriate response, as in telecommunication. The act of changing location from one place to another. Police controlled the motion of the crowd. Show, express or direct through movement. An optical illusion of motion produced by viewing a rapid succession of still pictures of a moving object. The cinema relies on apparent motion. A natural event that involves a change in the position or location of something. A formal proposal for action made to a deliberative assembly for discussion and vote. He made a motion to adjourn. The use of movements, especially of the hands, to communicate familiar or prearranged signals. A change of position that does not entail a change of location. The reflex motion of his eyebrows revealed his surprise. A state of change. They were in a state of steady motion. Conduct an interview in television, newspaper, and radio reporting. A conference, usually with someone important. Discuss formally with somebody for the purpose of an evaluation. We interviewed the job candidates. Go for an interview in the hope of being hired. The job candidate interviewed everywhere. The questioning of a person, or a conversation in which information is elicited, often conducted by journalists. My interviews with teenagers revealed a weakening of religious bonds. Computer science. A tiny electromagnetic coil and metal pole used to write and read magnetic patterns on a disk. Be in charge of. Who is heading this project? A person who is in charge. The head of the whole operation. That which is responsible for one's thoughts, feelings, and conscious brain functions. The seat of the faculty of reason. I couldn't get his words out of my head. Be the first or leading member of a group and excel. This student heads the class. The educator who has executive authority for a school. The upper part of the human body or the front part of the body in animals contains the face and brains. He stuck his head out the window. Travel in front of. Go in advance of others. The procession was headed by John. The part in the front or nearest the viewer. He was at the head of the column. A line of text serving to indicate what the passage below it is about. The heading seemed to have little to do with the text. A V-shaped mark at one end of an arrow pointer. A difficult juncture. Matters came to a head yesterday. Forward movement. The ship made little headway against the gale. Oral stimulation of the genitals. They say he gives good head. A dense cluster of flowers or foliage. A head of cauliflower. The subject matter at issue. Under the head of minor Roman poets. Direct the course. Determine the direction of traveling. The source of water from which a stream arises. They tracked him back toward the head of the stream. A natural elevation, especially a rocky one that juts out into the sea. Grammar. The word in a grammatical constituent that plays the same grammatical role as the whole constituent. A membrane that is stretched taut over a drum. An individual person. Tickets are $5 per head. A projection out from one end. The head of the nail. A rounded compact mass. The head of a comet. A single domestic animal. 200 head of cattle. A user of, usually soft, drugs. The office was full of secret heads. Be in the front of or on top of. The list was headed by the name of the president. Form a head or come or grow to a head. The wheat headed early this year. Nautical. A toilet on board a boat or ship. Remove the head of. Head the fish. Take its rise. These rivers head from a mountain range in the Himalayas. That part of a skeletal muscle that is away from the bone that it moves. The foam or froth that accumulates at the top when you pour an effervescent liquid into a container. The beer had a large head of foam. The front of a military formation or procession. The head of the column advanced boldly. The length or height based on the size of a human or animal head. He is 2 heads taller than his little sister. The pressure exerted by a fluid. A head of steam. The rounded end of a bone that fits into a rounded cavity in another bone to form a joint. The head of the humerus. The striking part of a tool. The head of the hammer. The tip of an abscess, where the pus accumulates. The top of something. The head of the stairs. To go or travel towards. Where is she heading? Usually plural, the obverse side of a coin that usually bears the representation of a person's head. Call heads or tails. A systematic investigation of a matter of public interest. A search for knowledge. An instance of questioning. A systematic investigation of a matter of public interest. A search for knowledge. An instance of questioning. An instance of questioning. Pose a question. Something that causes feelings of wonder. The wonders of modern science. Have a wish or desire to know something. He wondered who had built this beautiful church. Be amazed at. The feeling aroused by something strange and surprising. A state in which you want to learn more about something. Place in doubt or express doubtful speculation. I wonder whether this was the right thing to do. Being unsettled or in doubt or dependent on chance. Being unsettled or in doubt or dependent on chance. The precariousness of his income. Extreme dangerousness. The state of being unsure of something. Being unsettled or in doubt or dependent on chance. The uncertainty of the outcome. Pronounce a sentence on somebody in a court of law. Criminal law. A final judgment of guilty in a criminal case and the punishment that is imposed. The period of time a prisoner is imprisoned. His sentence was 5 to 10 years. A string of words satisfying the grammatical rules of a language. He always spoke in grammatical sentences. Take exception to. She challenged his claims. Raise a formal objection in a court of law. A call to engage in a contest or fight. A demand by a sentry for a password or identification. A demanding or stimulating situation. They reacted irrationally to the challenge of Russian power. A formal objection to the selection of a particular person as a juror. Ask for identification. The illegal immigrant was challenged by the border guard. Issue a challenge to. Fisher challenged Spassky to a match. Questioning a statement and demanding an explanation. His challenge of the assumption that Japan is still our enemy. Conduct an inquiry or investigation of. Inquire into the disappearance of the rich old lady. Have a wish or desire to know something. Address a question to and expect an answer from. I inquired about their special today. Have a wish or desire to know something. Conduct an inquiry or investigation of. Address a question to and expect an answer from. Consider obligatory. Request and expect. Aren't we asking too much of these children? Make a date. Has he asked you out yet? Address a question to and expect an answer from. The children asked me about their dead grandmother. Require is useful, just, or proper. This job asks a lot of patience and skill. Direct or put. Seek an answer to. Ask a question. Make a request or demand for something to somebody. She asked him for a loan. Require or ask for as a price or condition. He is asking $200 for the table. An offer of marriage. The act of making a proposal. They listened to her proposal. Something proposed, such as a plan or assumption. Carry on a conversation. Turned about in order or relation. A proposition obtained by conversion. Of words so related that one reverses the relation denoted by the other. Parental and filial are converse terms. Talk at length and formally about a topic. Carry on a conversation. An address of a religious nature, usually delivered during a church service. An extended communication, often interactive, dealing with some particular topic. To consider or examine in speech or writing. Extended verbal expression in speech or writing. Music, melodic subject of a musical composition. The theme is announced in the first measures. An essay, especially one written as an assignment. Linguistics, the form of a word after all affixes are removed. The subject matter of a conversation or discussion. His letters were always on the theme of love. A unifying idea that is a recurrent element in literary or artistic work. It was the usual, boy gets girl, theme. Provide with a particular theme or motive. The restaurant often themes its menus. A branch of knowledge. Teachers should be well trained in their subject. Possibly accepting or permitting. The time is fixed by the director and players and therefore subject to much variation. A person who owes allegiance to that nation. A monarch has a duty to his subjects. Being under the power or sovereignty of another or others. Subject peoples. Make subservient. Forced to submit or subdue. The subject matter of a conversation or discussion. He didn't want to discuss that subject. Something, a person or object or scene, selected by an artist or photographer for graphic representation. A moving picture of a train is more dramatic than a still picture of the same subject. A person who is subjected to experimental or other observational procedures. Someone who is an object of investigation. The subjects for this investigation were selected randomly. Some situation or event that is thought about. He had been thinking about the subject for several years. Cause to experience or suffer or make liable or vulnerable to. He subjected me to his awful poetry. Grammar. One of the two main constituents of a sentence. The grammatical constituent about which something is predicated. Likely to be affected by something. The bond is subject to taxation. Logic. The first term of a proposition. Make accountable for. He did not want to subject himself to the judgments of his superiors. The subject matter of a conversation or discussion. It was a very sensitive topic. Some situation or event that is thought about. He kept drifting off the topic.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.